Hello and welcome back to Learn Digital Art with me, Nilofer. Today we'll be illustrating this little girl who's sitting and enjoying her book on this very big fish. So let's begin. Alright, so here's our fresh canvas. Let's take our studio pen and create the outline of the fish. I'm just going to fill it up with the blue and I'm going to change my paint brush. I'm going to go to the soft brush and create some light strokes at the top with a lighter blue colour. I'm going to be using a bit of white underneath. And I really want to blend in the colours to give a more of a round effect. I'm continuing creating the colours, the light effect with an aquamarine colour at the top too. You can see we're gradually getting this effect of a shade. I use purple too, and I'll tell you why later. Now let's do the lips. I'm going to be using ink bleed from the Inking One folder to create a giant white smile. Oops! I just filled in the whole of my fish with this dark colour. It was only meant to be for the eye, which I used to create with the studio pen. I'm now going to reduce the opacity of the white colour to create a little bit of light in the eye itself. It's really showing you where the fish is looking. Now I'm going to create the eyebrow. And we're going to be using a soft brush. I'm going to reduce its tip or its nib and create this line underneath the white lip. It's really giving definition. And I'm now going to use a blue colour to really blend that lip in with the bottom skin of the fish itself. Let's create a new layer and repeat the process of the white line going over the eye, right back to the tail. I'm then going to do a nice blue colour on top to blend in that white line with the skin colour. Now, let's make the line of ink bleed a bit more solid, so I'm just going through it again. Alright, so let's go into creating the water that our fish is in. I'm just going to go into the watercolour brush from the Painting One folder. I'm going to increase the nib and just create some waves underneath. I'm going to go to my layers and I'm going to reduce the opacity, and down below you'll see quite a few functions and modes that change the colour and effect of the blue watercolour patterns that I just created. I'm going to stick to a linear colour. What that's done is just reduced a bit of the opacity of my water. Now, what I want to do is create the top part of the water itself from where our little fish is bridging out of. So I've just taken a studio pen and I'm just going to create a couple of wavy lines and some bubbles just to show where the fish has come up and the water's flowing and gushing up from the ocean itself. Two effects to create the water now. I'm going to be using a soft brush at the top, and for the bottom part I'm going to continue using the watercolour brush in a lighter colour. Next I want to create the little bubbles being produced in the water. I'm just going to be using the studio brush and making two circular shapes. I will create some definition in them by reducing the opacity. You can see they are looking like bubbles now. Next up, I want to create this darkness inside to depict that our water is deeper below. So I'm using an orangey brown colour to do this. I'm now going to create these grooves which will go underneath the belly of the fish all the way up to its fin at the back. And I'm using the studio brush to create that. And to give some definition, because they are grooves, I thought we would use a soft brush to soften up this line. I'm going to be using a slightly lighter blue colour so you can see the line or the groove through that. I'm now going to use a white colour and the soft brush to just create some shadows, and well, it won't be a character without some pink cheeks. I want to now concentrate on creating the bubbles, so I'm going to go into the gel pen from the Ink in One folder. I'm going to go into white and reduce the opacity a little bit and really define that line at the top of the water where our fish is coming out. I'm going to take that line all the way to the end, and then I'm going to start creating some more shapes at the top to show the drops of water flying up. You'll notice I'll be using a different colour on either side of the fish, purely because our background at this moment is white, so you wouldn't be able to see white on white. So I just thought it would be very nice to show you that technique, but with a blue colour. Next, I'm going to continue doing the bubbles inside the water too. That will be done with the studio pen. Using the Gouache brush, which is very similar to the watercolour brush from the Paint in One folder, to create more of a light effect at the bottom of the ocean. I'll be using a nice rich pink purpley colour for this. The Gouache brush has much more of a refined nib to it compared to the watercolour brush. I'm now going to be defining the cheeks. And what I wish to do is give our little fish friend some freckles. So I'll be doing that with the studio brush, and we'll just go in and create some blue and brown dots. I just think this is adorable. On many characters I tend to do freckles because it gives it a real nostalgic children's feel. To create some sort of effect on the top of our fish to show that there's light touching his head. So I'm just going to use a soft brush and white, and now I'm just going to create the background, which I thought would be great in orange. I'm going to now go into the cloud brush from the Elements folder and create some light touches with a darker colour of orange. I don't want it protruding too much, I just want it to be settled in the background. I'm now going to use a soft brush in the blue colour and create a little bit of blue around our fish where the fish is coming out of the water, just to show a bit of effect of the horizon. Next up, I'm going to create some ocean plants. I'm going to be using the studio pen to do this and reduce the opacity also. I'm going to be creating these different plants, this algae, the seagrass or the kelp in different types of colours. Did you know that these ocean plants are divided into 3 groups? So some use sunlight, some are there in the twilight, and some require just no light at all. It's another little fun fact from me. I'm going to be increasing the nib of our pen and creating more of this plants on the side, and then I'll be using some blending within our plants. That will be done obviously through the soft brush pens. You can really see there's some sort of ecosystem being created down below. To really show that our ocean plants are moving around, I'm going to use the dry ink brush from Inking One folder to display some wavy lines inside the ocean too. I'm going to go back up to the top of the water and use the dry ink brush with the opacity being lower and create some more ocean waves or mini ocean waves. Using the soft brush, I'm just going to create some more definition in the water to show that the bottom parts will be darker. So I'm going to go for a very dark grey blue, and then I'm going to gradually create a lighter effect at the top with another aquamarine colour. Now let's go and create the little character on top. So our little girl reading her favourite book. I suppose she's probably dreaming away that she would wish to be on a fish whilst she's reading. So who knows? It looks like a very dreamy, whimsical illustration to me. So I'm just going to roughly do an outline of the hair and the face using the studio brush, but a variety of colours. I'm going to roughly, very loosely create the eyes and just fill them in. To give some definition to the eyes, I use the soft brush and reduce the nib. I'm also using the soft brush again, but increasing the nib to give some definition to the face. When I create hair, I always like to do an outline of the length of the hair and also the style. And as soon as that's done, I tend to go into the materials folder and into the soft hairbrush. Then I take another lighter colour to create the strands of the hair. I thought I'd give her a little accessory hair with a little pin. I created that with the studio pen again, and I'm just going to make a little flower on the side. Here we go again with some pinky cheeks, just to define where her cheekbones are. And just going into the face to sharpen up the shape. Increase the pinkiness around her cheeks. Let's give her a mustard dress. I was going to dress her in trousers too, but I thought that she may be reading this book at night time, so this could really be her nightie. I'm just going to do outline of the book. In very roughly. Whenever I create the anatomy of my character, I tend to roughly sketch out where I think the hands or the legs will be. I'm going to now use a brown colour with reduction in opacity to show the difference between her legs. Otherwise, one monocolour would have just flattened everything out. You wouldn't have been able to distinguish between them. Just creating her feet now, which I think we may give flip-flops to. There we go. I'm now going to create the book in purple, and what I'm going to do is, as soon as I've created the book, I'm going to copy and paste the hands below and put them on top. This was very easily done. by copying them into another layer and then putting that layer above the book that I created. I'm now going to merge all those layers for the little girl and reduce her in size to sit her on top of our fish. I'm then going to give her some definition where she's sitting, so some shade and shadow using the soft brush, and a darker blue and then gradually a lighter blue on top. Let's now give definition to the hands and the arms. So I'm going to do exactly the same as I did on the legs to reduce the opacity of the brown colour, and then just to give some shading with soft brush. Let's return back to the book and write the title of the book itself on it, and then create some shading on the spine of the book. And a bit of pattern to show a border. I'm going to define the dress with a nice white line. Let's now go back to her face and give her some eyebrows with the ink bleed pen. And let's try and reduce the redness of her cheeks. So what I want to do is try and blend in the existing red colour with her skin tone, and now I'm just going to define the cheeks more. With highlighting her nose, very similar to the colour that I used for arms and her legs. And there we have it, our final illustration. Thank you so much for staying with me, and I look forward to seeing you again for another video. Bye bye.